Hey guys, this is Lawrence of the Ketones and Coffee podcast. Make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on any of this great content.
I'm so excited for this, guys. Stick around because our guest today is a board-certified functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and a weight loss expert. She is the founder of Nutrition the Natural Way, which uses functional nutrition and holistic health focused on the root causes of imbalances through a food-first approach. She's also been living the keto carnivore lifestyle for more than 15 years now. I'm so excited for this. I'm here with Dani Conway. Dani, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to chat with you.
Awesome. So glad to have you on. Always an honor to be in the presence of somebody that's, been living the lifestyle for 15 years and that's quite a long time. Just also willing to share their story and educate others. So welcome.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So, so you help your clients overcome a wide range of issues, from weight loss to PCOS, gut issues, and the list goes on with your tailored approach to healing. And your no one size fits all approach is what I think makes your program so unique and so great. And we'll talk about that in a few.
Sure.
But helping many lives, I believe you call it the 4-step approach.
Yeah.
We'll get into that in a second.
Okay.
But I love the new media right now because if not for social media or the internet, I would still be oblivious to alternative medicine like this. So before we get to that, let's get into your story.
Sure.
The journey that got you started into the path. Since healing starts with changing the food we eat, hence, the food first approach, I think it's safe to say that the environment we grew up in creates our conditioning, which includes our relationship with food, right? So this is why I love practitioners who's been through the struggle, because you guys know where to look. Also, you've personally been there before. To be fair, I think most would find this path from their own set of issues. I believe you have tried everything before this, and nothing worked.
Yeah, everything under the sun.
Until you came across this lifestyle that was so different from what you was accustomed to, and this was what 2005.
Yeah,
2006?
2006. I mean, I had, chronic yo-yo dieting syndrome for years prior to that. And really, the low carb, higher fat approach was not really talked about at that time. I mean, Atkins was a thing, but wasn't as popular as it is now, even though it's not mainstream per se.
Yeah. But there are a lot of, because I want to talk to you about this, and I love I love that you're here, because there are a lot of people that are living through these issues every day, thinking it's normal, right? Thinking that it's part of their life. But the difference for you was you wanted to find out what it is, and you didn't settle for what the doctor said to you, which is, I think, the gap is, from being from getting to where you are to people that are suffering right now, and that gap, they didn't settle. You didn't settle for something that the doctor told you, right? Which is nothing's wrong with you,
right? I mean, your blood work is
Yeah.
normal, everything's normal. I was 65 pounds overweight on a fat-free diet, never addressed food or anything like that. And that's really what sent me on a path looking for something different, because I was in my 20s and wasn't willing to, I couldn't imagine being in my 40s, which I'm, 45 now, but I couldn't imagine living, like that. Then where would I be at this point in time? Now I'm healthier at 45 than I was at, in my 20s.
So let's get to help people. I want to go back with you, way back. We don't want people to stop looking for answers. So I want to learn about your relationship with food. What was your relationship with food growing up? We talked about earlier that our environment is mostly what creates that. And how did you got to where you are today, helping people as well?
Yeah. So, I mean, as far as my relationship with food, I mean, I was brought up with healthy food to the best that my parents knew at the time, right? So this was, a lot of starches and grains and healthy things like, pasta, higher carbs, low fat, fat free. And that's kind of where I, progressed into dieting because I figured, oh, well, if I'm supposed to be, I was overweight, but still, eating fat free, and that must be the answer. And I just, either yo-yoed up and down or just couldn't quite get the results that, I was looking for. I would lose some and then it would come back, or I wouldn't lose it all, so it was just a vicious cycle.
So why did you think that, well, let's explain why low fat is actually doing us more harm than good.
Yeah, so low fat, fat free, high sugar. So they're basically replacing, taking out the fat and replacing that with sugar and, chemically laden ingredients that are not really food, frankenfoods, if you will, or yeah, they're edible because you can eat them, but it doesn't mean that they're not going to have ill effects on your health.
There's a lot because before I dabbled into keto, I was scared of bacon. I was scared
Right.
of
Oh,
fat.
butter,
I was scared of
butter.
that.
I mean, I was
Butter.
terrified of fat. It
Yeah.
was a very, very big mental change and mental shift. And of course, being a woman and thinking, oh, butter's okay. Like I had to learn to eat butter. I had to learn to eat these fats, but I had struggled with terrible cravings and fat cravings, ice cream cravings. And I always say there was no shortage of ice cream happening in my body. But what there was a shortage of was good fats, high quality protein, high quality nutrient dense foods. And that's why I was having those cravings.
And then what was your first step? When you were yo-yo dieting, when did you finally visited your doctor and say that, okay, something's wrong with me? When was that point?
I mean, in the early 2000s, I wasn't necessarily sick, but, I still had struggles with cravings and hormone issues and digestive issues and nothing that would show like clinically wrong as far as what the doctors are looking for. So more of, subclinical type symptoms and, the common stuff that no one wants to talk about: constipation, diarrhea, bloating, gas, the hormone issues, with my monthly cycle and the cravings and, the excessive hunger. That the cravings and excessive hunger were two very significant symptoms for me. And I just got to the point where the doctors weren't giving me any answers. They were telling me my blood work was normal. I hear that all the time too from clients. And then just, started to really look at, my cravings of the fat cravings, and I would crave steak and cheese. And finally, I just thought to myself, like, what if I ate those foods? And I mean, I did some research. There was no social media pages back then, of course, and I was kind of on my own. But I just was like, well, let me just try this approach because the counting everything else, points and calories and, not to name all the programs out there, but it just, I knew that wasn't working for me. And this was the only thing that I hadn't tried.
What's our blood work not revealing about other issues? Like what?
So many things. So I look for optimal ranges versus normal. So optimal range is a much smaller, tighter range versus a normal range. And the other piece of the puzzle is it's not just one marker at a time. It's correlating all the markers that you see on the blood work with the individual whose blood work it actually is and what are their symptoms. So a very common miss is like a CBC with differentials. Almost every doctor is running that, but they're all saying, oh yeah, it's normal. You can see iron deficiencies, you can see malabsorption, you can see issues with B vitamins. The differential markers are a huge view into underlying bacterial and viral infections, food allergies, different components that could be ultimately affecting the immune system, which is going to affect hormones, weight, thyroid. When I say hormones, I'm talking about not only thyroid, but adrenals, cortisol, all of that. So that's just one lab. Then you have your metabolic panel and you have iron panel and, a whole host of other things that, to look for.
A normal patient would probably stop right there.
Yes.
Right. And why should they? Because obviously, walking into the doctor's office, they probably don't know what's going on, right? They probably need more answers. And if the answer was you're normal and, everything's okay, then you're probably okay. Then what's going on then, right? So where can they find the answers right away? Because if you're not searching, if you're not aware about, alternative medicine, holistic health, or now it's more talked about, on social
Sure.
platforms, but like yeah.
I think people
Go ahead.
I think people need to have the drive to find the answers. So there's going to be a camp of people that are going to get told they're normal and they're going to continue living their life the way they live their life. They might still feel like crap. They change some food things or they try to go on a diet. And then you're going to have a camp of people that is going to, we have so many resources now, the internet and social media and different Facebook groups and all of that. Then you have the people that are going to do the research and try to find other ways. I think back then holistic health was not nearly as prevalent as it is now. And, I think it's, again, like the drive that a person has to get the answers and to not take normal for an answer when they do not feel normal.
How do your clients find you? Well, where are they coming from?
So my practice at this point, after 15 years is almost either 100%, or I should say it's about 95%. They find me online, whether it's social media or a search for functional nutritionist or some type of practitioner, holistic health practitioner. And then I also have a lot of referral based in terms of previous clients or current clients that refer somebody that they might know is struggling with the same issues or same type of complaints that they have.
Why would one look for a holistic health practitioner?
So if they want to get other answers that their doctors aren't giving them, if they want to find really what's going on, like if they suspect or intuitively know that they've got hormone imbalances based on their symptoms or GI imbalances, and maybe the doctors have done further testing and maybe they haven't. But, again, finding the answer to the symptoms that they are just not willing to settle for. Again, maybe they've tried over-the-counter type, we'll call them medications for, bloating, gas X, constipation, diarrhea. You can go buy over-the-counter things, medicine for all this stuff. But at the end of the day, how many times can you take that stuff and it's not going to basically fix the problem?
That's where the danger is.
Yeah. And, look at all the people that get, into taking, ibuprofen and Tylenol for years and years for joint pain, right? So joint pain I see rooted in underlying infections, viral infections, bacterial infections, things that aren't necessarily being found by the doctors, but they do have subclinical presentation that is creating a lot of these symptoms.
I have one example for everyone that's listening here, and I want your take on it. I have a chronic lower back pain, and I've been nursing it for years now, and I didn't know that Carnivore would help me heal my back pain.
Sure.
And when I jumped into it, a few weeks in, my back pain was gone. And that alone for me, I had a thought that a lot of people may be struggling like I was, but they're taking medications for it. They're taking pain medications for it. And I want your take on it, because if they sell for a medication, like say for a pain medication like Tylenol, it could relieve your pain, but it's attacking something else in your body.
Yeah, detox system, liver, kidneys. It's super stressful on those organs.
And the person now gets hooked, because whenever the medication fades away, the effect fades away, then they'll have to take it again, and it becomes chronic. I love your approach where you said, you always start with food. I want to get to that.
Yeah.
And your nutrition program had caught a lot of experts' attention, and you've been featured on major TV in Sacramento. If you can give us a little bit of taste of what a client will get within your program, I want to be able to simulate the experience a client gets through within your program. If I'm experiencing any of these issues, what is the protocol and where do you start
So I
your
start with
client?
clients like a very initial, what is called a
Mm-hmm.
jumpstart session. And prior to that session, I'll have them fill out an
Mm-hmm.
in-depth welcome packet or for, health
Mm-hmm.
background. And then I also have them do a 7-day food log of what they're currently doing. And I want to see on
Mm-hmm.
that food log, I want them to be completely honest with me. I don't want them to change what they're doing just because they're writing it down, because I want to see exactly what is happening currently, because
Mm-hmm.
most likely what is pretty typical is that what they think they're doing and what they should be doing is a lot different. So it brings a lot to be able to bridge the gap between those two things. So
Mm-hmm.
then at that jumpstart session, I dive into their health background, really looking at their history as far as both dieting history and health history. So
Mm-hmm.
women have been on a lot of diets as just kind of a general rule of thumb. And we
Mm-hmm.
don't realize sometimes that, spending a lifetime on a diet and restricting calories, that can all play into what's
Mm-hmm.
contributing to what's happening today. And
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of things sometimes we have to go back and look at, like, healing the metabolism and cortisol levels and different things that are contributing into what's happening today. But just going back to the jumpstart session is really just an opportunity to learn about the background. And then also spend time in that session giving them some next steps that they can get started with right away. Typically, lifestyle, nutrition, adjusting macros, looking at how much they're eating or not eating, because under eating is very common these days. And then kind of, again, like I said, next steps and kind of going from there as far as, maybe they
Mm-hmm.
have blood
Mm-hmm.
work, maybe they don't, but looking at what is that next step of like testing from urine to stool to hormones,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
blood, all of that, and then kind of going from there.
What's the most common thing that you found that is common with your clients in the beginning? Like what issue?
Probably for sure under eating. And then
Mm,
another component is not looking at all the pieces of the puzzle. So everyone's so laser focused on the diet portion, or the
mm,
food, which is super important, but not realizing that a lot of other key factors play into, what
mm.
happens with the
Yeah,
food that we're eating.
yeah. Because you talked about this about not having a one size fits all because
Mhm.
they probably focus on the diet because every program starts with that.
Yeah, I mean, well, actually, no, not every program starts with that, because I get a lot of clients who have been to various functional doctors and have done tons of
Mm-hmm,
testing, but they haven't
mm-hmm,
even addressed food or what they're doing food wise.
mm-hmm. Okay.
So if I view food as the foundation of everything that we do. So that's where the name nutrition the natural way
Mm,
actually came from. So if that foundation isn't right, then nothing else can be right. So think about building a house. If you build a house on a muddy foundation, it's not going to be there very long, right?
yeah,
But if
yeah.
we can create that solid cement foundation and then build on there with hormone balance and gut health and
Mm-hmm,
detoxification and getting all those body systems working and
mm.
functioning together and properly, then that's when you get the best results. So it's food first and then kind of building on that foundation with, the underlying imbalances.
I want to talk to you about the mindset, the diet
Hmm.
mindset approach. Not the diet, the word, because the diet has two meanings for
Sure.
me. A diet is what you eat, and another term, diet. Another meaning for the term is, the diet that is short term, right? So I want to talk to you about like, how important is sustainability in this process?
That's a great question. So I tell my clients that there's two of the most important things for me when working with someone is sustainability and results. So sustainability meaning if someone comes to me and
Mm-hmm,
they've tried carnivore and they've tried
mm-hmm,
multiple facets of carnivore and they've tried keto and
mm-hmm,
they've tried a lot of things, and in their attempt of trying,
mm-hmm,
they say
mm-hmm,
that, carnivore is great, but the only reason they tried it is because they thought it was going to get them the weight loss they wanted, but it didn't. And so I asked them if they, do you feel carnivore is sustainable? So if they say no, then I want to find a way that is sustainable for them. So maybe it's keto, some type of
Mm,
on the carb of low on the spectrum of low carb, obviously.
mm,
And
yeah.
if someone says, yeah, I love carnivore, I love being strict carnivore, then great, let's figure out that version of strict carnivore that works for that individual. So this is where I think that, individuality and individuality and sustainability both come in and have to be looked at in the context of that person.
Yeah, because we see it a lot with people that gets diagnosed with something, maybe a chronic illness. They will be advised to go to their dietitian, and their dietitian's advice is to lower calories,
Right.
and and what for the client or for the patient, they don't know what that means, so they would just go in on a salad rampage for
Mm-hmm.
a week and then get off it. It's a classic diet failure, and obviously that cannot be seen as sustainable, because I've seen people that's been on a diet, and obviously if if you have a chronic illness, you will have to change your lifestyle, right? you
For
you, you
sure.
can't you can't be you can't be looking at a unsustainable lifestyle, eating chicken breast and broccoli, knowing that it will help you, but for is it sustainable? I guess that's the question, right? It has to be a part of it's gonna be a part of your life long term. So having to think about how to create a sustainable lifestyle for you, I think is what the first question should be in the beginning. So I love that approach, and I want to talk to you about your 4-step approach to fitness. What does that entail?
So when I think about fitness, it's really fitness is kind of another way to look at
Hmm.
overall health. So it's looking at nutrition, it's looking at mindset, it's looking at the physiological piece, which is the hormones, the
Hmm.
digestion, all the things that are happening under the surface, but yet they're creating the symptoms that we might experience every day. So going back to the cravings, the excessive hunger, the insomnia, moodiness,
Hmm.
irritability, hot flashes, depending on, stage of life for women and what they're going with through
Hmm.
hormonally. And then of
Hmm.
course the active part, the physical fitness part of fitness as well. So I really kind of view it from all different angles, and I feel like all of those angles have to be
Hmm.
in balance with each other, to create the best results and have the most sustainable approach
Hmm.
possible.
How can one what's the word? How can one best approach this? Or I have or better it's a better question for that. How can one make the most out of the program? Like what's the mindset? Is there a goal setting? What should be my goal in the beginning? Because obviously you're changing your lifestyle. It's not
Hmm.
easy.
Hmm.
It's some lifestyles it's very simple, but this has been their conditioning their whole life, and at this point they're struggling with a chronic illness or a gut issue or whatever, and they're being asked to change their lifestyle completely. So it can't be an easy task for anybody, and I want that clear. But what's the best thing to do in the beginning? Obviously, you have to, the first thing is education. You're educating them with, the change in lifestyle, what it means, and what's good for them and what's not good for them. That's where your program comes in, tailoring for them. But what's the best way to look at it in the beginning and to become successful in this?
Yeah, so I think you're going to have two different types of people. You're going to have the people that do best on gradual changes and the people that are
Mm,
going to do best on a cold turkey approach. So
mm,
typically I go with the gradual approach because a lot of people have done a lot of things and they haven't worked. And often
mm,
what I call like their last stop or their last hope, honestly.
mm,
And so I really approach things a little bit more gradual and really kind of going into detail about what we're going to change, why we're going to change it, spending time on all of the components that go into what their program is going to be depending on what their symptoms and complaints and goals are. And then kind of, kind of go on a step-by-step process of sometimes it's going back to the basics. Other times it's really kind of upgrading and next leveling what they're doing so that they can get their best results either way.
Do you work with mindfulness at all? Just for
Yeah, so we do, we do a lot on mindfulness and awareness of what we're doing, awareness of food. It's a huge transition to go from many women have under-eaten and restricted calories for a very long time. So, and I know this is a big controversy in the carnivore space of like caloric deficit and how much you should eat and eating till full and all these things that are out there. But my approach honestly is like, if you have to heal your body and your hormones from caloric restriction. And if you want to lose weight and lose fat effectively, then you have to create the right type of caloric deficit that supports hormones, that supports your body, that supports digestion, that supports sleep. Under eating can cause thyroid and sleep imbalances and all kinds of things. So just making sure that from a mindset perspective, somebody is understanding why they're doing it. They're looking at things differently. We kind of go through different strategies and different ways to look at those things differently. So yeah, mindfulness is a very big piece of it. But I also find that it works really well to intertwine mindfulness and that approach with mindfulness within the context of the whole program, not just like, here's the mindset stuff, right? And here's this stuff. Like it's not compartmentalized. It all has to be approached, within the same, with the context of what's happening for that person.
Yeah, because they're basically changing habits. They're breaking habits. Their behavioral changes occurs.
It's also beliefs too, like the beliefs of what is out there and all the information, and everyone's on information overload.
Yeah.
They've heard this, they've heard that. All the things and too much information, trying too many protocols at one time, they get, lack of results.
You're probably debunking a lot of these questions for you. Many of these are, for me, when I started, I was bewildered in the beginning before it spoke to me. And because you really have to follow through before you could get the results, right? And you can't, you got to trust the process and believe that it's going to work, and follow through on the program. There's a lot here. That's why, bridging the gap with the mind and bodies, what I love with holistic health, holistic healing, everything's accounted for. Love it. So I wanna ask you, what's the best goal for somebody that's obviously if I want to if I want this already, and I'm doing this for myself, and I want change in myself, what's my goal? Because it's always been to lose weight, right, for people, but what's a better goal for them?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to sound a little bit cliche, so just to be, I'm pretty honest and upfront. But I think looking at the longevity and the overall health, and that piece, like my, weight loss happens as a byproduct of the body being healthy and in balance. And what does that entail? That entails more than just worrying about, food calories and what you're eating. So I do believe that we should get to a point of intuitive eating. I do believe that for some people, tracking is necessary to bring awareness of what they're doing, all of that. I also believe that, again, if we don't create that balance, inside and out, then we're not going to get the long-term results and the long-term goals.
Yeah. I want to ask you, what's the danger of a one-size-fits-all approach?
Oh, let's see. Staying stuck. I mean, I did that for so many years. Staying stuck, ending, obviously, honestly, gaining weight. So there's I hear a lot of like, oh, I just tried to do what my best friend did, and then they had completely opposite results, or they did a program that their best friend did, and the best friend lost 20 pounds and they ended up gaining 10. So just really, one size fits all is not tailored to the individual. And it's really at the end of the day, like, yeah, are some people going to get results from one size fits all? Let's be real. Definitely. That's why we have a fitness industry, right? But and a nutrition industry. But at the end of the day, You know, most people do need to tailor it to the individual in order to get the real true results that they're looking for.
Yeah, yeah, I get that a lot too. Like, also, if you have gut issues as well, it's not everything's gonna be working with your body, like
Yeah,
to most people.
you know, to be honest with you, like I've been criticized for saying like one size doesn't fit all, and I've been criticized for, you know, yeah, there's a percentage of people that just eat meat and they add some butter and they get all the, you know, the amazing carnivore results that they were after, and there's other people that just eat meat and add some butter and don't. And so, you know, I think that that's, you know, the context of one size doesn't fit all is super important. I'm super passionate about it, obviously. And I've also been criticized for it, you know, saying that, you know, this isn't, you know, so anyways, just wanted to kind of put that out there and share that.
Yeah, no, I love what you're doing because a lot of people are struggling. A lot of people don't know this information until it's too late,
Right.
you know, unfortunately. And maybe because it's not out there, you know, enough, you know, and some of them are, you know, obviously relying on their doctors most of the time to give them the right advice, but they stop there and they stop looking for answers. And so I love what you're speaking about, and I love your journey because you're one of those people that don't stop believing and don't stop searching for answers that may help you, because you've been suffering from a lot of issues, right?
Yeah.
You as well lost a lot of weight. About you said you lost about 65 pounds. You have gut issues. What else did you
So yeah,
suffer from?
I had lots of hormone issues as well. So, you know, monthly cycle issues, you know, PMS, moodiness,
Yeah.
the excessive hunger and cravings they literally ruled my life. I would feel the only way I can describe it is like having an out of body experience 2 weeks out of my life before my cycle started, and just not being able to, you know, control my food intake and all of that.
Yeah.
And then kind of fast forward a little bit, you know, 2012, I had breast implants. I got breast implants, and that was you know, kind of definitely affected my journey and my health over time. I was, you know, like a normal woman, kind of looking at, oh, I'm turning 40 and I wanted to, you know, down the road, and I wanted to kind of feel my best, and I thought that was going to be fun. And, you know, here I was spending my career dedicating to, you know, helping women feel healthy from the inside out. And I had the implants, and that really kind of turned my health in a different direction. So I did struggle with a lot of issues from those implants, subsequently had them removed March of 2021. And so that was a whole other piece of my health journey that started after I lost the weight. So it just goes to show you that that weight isn't everything. And, you know, that was also a really shameful time for me because, again, I was dedicating my life to helping women get healthy from the inside out. But then here I go putting, you know, foreign objects in my body, and had a lot of issues from that as well. So I do like to share that story because there's a lot of women that are not, you know, suffering and not realizing that their implants are causing them issues. And you know what? There's a lot of people that they don't cause any problems with. So I'm not saying for those listening that may not have any problems, that's great. And for those listening that might not realize that it's your implants causing autoimmunity problems and things like that, it's definitely something to look into.
No, I appreciate that, because thank you for that. And obviously, if no one's gonna speak on it, then nobody's gonna know, right? And this is why we're doing this. This is why you're here, is to tell your story. So for, you know, maybe one person's listening, and, you know, that knows somebody that's suffering from that, would definitely be something that would change their life forever. Like you said, like for me, you know, this path has changed my life, and this path has changed yours. And now you're helping people reverse whatever it is that they're suffering from. You do the same, right? And so I love what you're doing, and I love that you're speaking on those issues, because obviously it's something that needs to be talked about more and more. And so I love that you're here. And did we miss anything, Dani?
I'm sure we can talk for a long time, but no, I think we covered a lot.
Yeah. Thank you. So where can they find you, and where can they connect with you, Danny?
Absolutely. So on Instagram at carnivore.keto.fitness. My website is nutritionthenaturalway.com. Feel free to email me through my site. And then I also have a Keto Carnivore Facebook group on Facebook as well.
Awesome. We're gonna link everything in the description below, guys. So check out Dani and her programs. And yeah, thank you so much, Dani, for coming on and sharing your story. Keep doing what you're doing. You're helping a lot of people out there, struggling with the same issues that you've struggled with. And if we don't talk about this, people won't be able to find out about it. So just basically that's it. Thank you so much, Dani.
Thanks,
Really
Lawrence, for
appreciate
having
you.
me. Thanks so much.